Ram Hai Marutudai Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Madhusudan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nita Gora Haribo, 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 Nita Gora Haribo. Nita Gora Haribo, 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 Nita Gora Haribo. Nitai Gauranga, 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 Jaya Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaura Hari. Nitai, 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 Nitai Gauranga. Nitai, 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 Nitai Gauranga. Nitai, 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 Nitai Gauranga. Nitai, 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 Nitai Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Nita Gauranga. Nita Gauranga. Nita Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari. Nita Gauranga Jaya Gaura Hari. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to the deity. It needs 5 minutes. Oh yeah, Hare Krishna until they start going.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Free You better voice. You better voice.
You're on. No,
I called it with the 5-minute control. Oh, I'm not okay.
Yashamati Nandana Vajabhanaga Gokula Janakana Yashamati Nandana Vajabhanaga Gokula Janakana Vajajana Palaka Chakula Nashana. I don't have my reading on.
Gopi Parana Madana Manohara
Kaliya Damana Vihana
Kaliya Damana Vidhana
Kaliya Damana Vihana
Kaliya Amala Harinam
Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa
Amala Harinam Amiya Vilas
Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa
Amala Vipina Purandara Navina Nagarabura
Vipina Muranda Havina Nagara Ampiva Natuvasa
Vipina Purandara Navina Nagarabura Vansivadana Survasa
Vipina Puranda Navina Nagara Ampiva Natuvasa
Vipina Rajajana Palana Ashura Kula Nasana
Vajajana Palana Chakula Nashana
Rajana Palana Ashura Kula Nasana
Vajajana Palana Chakula Nashana
Nanda Godana Rakawa
Nanda Godana Kavala
Nanda Godana Rakawa
Nanda Godana Kavala
Govinda Madhava Namanita
Govinda Madhava Navanita Tata Govinda Madhava Navanita Tata
Govinda Sundarananda Gopal
Sundananda Gopala It's time for the class. They cut the mic off. Hey, Prabhupada Ki.
Yeah.
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरावनचारी You can put the initial verse. Radha Madhava कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा Jayam Vishnupas Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Stotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Ki Jai Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki Jai Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Narsinghadev Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. We'll do it together. Vandeham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती तमा कृष्ण गोस्वामी नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिनेति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। Prabhu, can I have the HDMI cord for my computer? I'm going to run from my computer. If I can have the HDMI cord, thank you. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So today, I don't know how this is not coming up, if someone can help me with the technology. You cannot see the screen, right? I mean, you cannot see my screen there. No, I have something else on my screen. So I need someone to help me with that. I'm going to read the summary. So because, no, it's chapter 9. So because today we are going to speak about the history, since it's the 40th anniversary of moving to this location, I'm going to read the summary of chapter 9, which speaks about the desire tree of devotional service. But I do need my computer to work because I have pictures. Huh? So I will, maybe I should. Yeah, would you like to read it? It's part of my, but I need the whole computer for my presentation. Actually, the summary is in the middle. Yeah, but I think we should read it in the interest of time. You have a computer? Yeah.
A summary of chapter 9 has been given as follows by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amriti Pravash Bhashya.
Can you speak the title of the chapter first to give context, please?
The title of chapter 9, Chaitanya Charitamrita, The Desire Tree of Devotional Service.
Thank you. Adi Lila chapter 9.
Adi Lila chapter 9, The Desire Tree of Devotional Service. A summary of chapter 9 has been given as follows by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. In this chapter, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita has devised a figurative example by describing the desire tree of bhakti. He considers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Vishwambar, to be the gardener of this tree because he is the main personality who has taken charge of it. As the supreme enjoyer, he enjoyed the fruits himself and distributed them as well. The seed of the tree was first sown in Navadvip, the birth site of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then the tree was brought to Purushottama Setra, Jagannath Puri, and then to Vrindavan. The seed fructified first in Srila Mahavendra Puri, and then in his disciple Sri Ishvara Puri. It is figuratively described that both the tree itself and the trunk of the tree are Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Paramananda Puri and 8 other great sannyasis are like the spreading roots of the tree. From the main trunk there extend 2 special branches, Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And from those branches grow other branches and twigs. The tree surrounds the entire world, and the fruits of the tree are to be distributed to everyone. In this way, the tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu intoxicates the entire world. It should be noted that this is a figurative example meant to explain the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Thank you. So the question may be asked, why is history important? And history or itihas in Sanskrit is a genre which describes the activities of those at a certain period of time. So a classical example are these epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana. And we understand history because we have to understand the disciplic succession. So here we spoke about the desire tree of devotional service, how Lord Chaitanya, as you see in the picture, is both the trunk, right? And then from him come two big branches, the branch of Advaita Acharya and the branch of Nityananda Prabhu. And then these branches subdivide into many sub-branches and then many other sub-branches. And in this way, this love of Godhead envelops the whole world. So Srila Prabhupada is a sub-branch of the Chaitanya tree, right? And Srila Prabhupada says this in his in the same chapter, text 18. Text 18. Visha Visha Shakha Kari Eka Eka Mandala Maha Maha Shakha Chaila Brahmanda Sakala. Translation. Thus the branches of the Chaitanya tree form the cluster or society with great branches covering all the universe. And in the purport he says, our International Society for Krishna Consciousness is one of the branches of the Chaitanya tree. So historically, we are one of the branches of the Gaudiya line of the Chaitanya tree. And so therefore, ISKCON Houston is a branch of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, and we are called Prabhupada Nugas, right? Followers of Prabhupada. So this is why we discuss the history of our particular temple, to give us some perspective in the whole scheme of things. So in the early days, in 1970, Vishnujan Swami, along with an assistant, Srinath Das, were hiking from Florida, and they stopped in Houston. And there they established a center on 406 Gray Street. Now Vishnujan Swami later on went on to start the Radha Damodar Traveling Sankirtan Party, and he moved on from Texas. Right? So after that, now when Vishnujan Swami was there in the beginning of the temple, the first deity we worshipped was no other than Panchatattva. It was not a deity in the sense like we have a three-dimensional deity, but it was a painting. It was not this painting. We had a painting, but I don't have a picture. It was probably about like 10 feet by 10 feet of the Panchatattva. And this was on the altar along with Srila Prabhupada's picture in the disciplic succession. And so the Panchatattva we worshipped initially in the first center to be established in Houston. Now after that, the temple moved several times, the location, because they were trying to find a suitable location. So we started on Gray Street, then went to Hawthorne Street, and finally to 1111 Rosary. 1111 Rosary is easy to remember, because in those days, they were also making life members, right, soon after that, and the life membership fees were $1,111. And His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to preach in India, so he would say 1111 Rosary. That was the address downtown of our first major center, bigger than just a house. And there were many stalwart pioneering devotees, trailblazers who were very important in establishing the center here. This person you can recognize? Dinabandhu Prabhu, yeah, and he is known for doing this. He's a Brajavasi practically, right? For leading parikrams in Vrindavan and speaking about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Another of the trailblazers was, who does this look like? Not a very good picture. Hridayananda Maharaj. Yeah, he's known for his academic preaching and also for his Bhagavad Gita, which he has presented in contemporary language. Here's another one. Praladananda Swami, yes. He was, at that time he was Praladananda Das, right? Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki Jai, Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra ki Jai, Brahma ki Jai. Yeah, Praladananda Das Brahmachari. Similarly, Dinabandhu Prabhu and his good wife Akuti, they were, as a couple, they moved here for a short time in 1971. Hridayananda Maharaj, at that time Hridayananda Das, with his wife Ananga Manjari Mataji, they also lived here for some time and helped with the center. Then Praladananda Brahmachari, at that time, he was one of the first temple presidents after that. And then we had, who is this? Brahmatirtha Prabhu. And he is known for this book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. So, till the time of Brahmatirtha Prabhu, mostly the devotees who were engaged in the temple were brahmacharis, monastic kind of living, right? Because these were the original, this is how ISKCON first started. A whole wave of brahmacharis who gave up everything and surrendered to Srila Prabhupada, right? Now, Brahmatirtha Prabhu happened to be married. So he had to make this transition somehow from being a brahmachari to a grihastha. And that was an interesting, he was actually interesting in that there were like two things which happened during this time. Brahmatirtha Prabhu, as you know, was a geophysicist, right, geologist. And he happened to have a job. Not only did he have a job, and as a regular job, but he also was married with a wife and 2 children. The Rosalie Street temple at that time was primarily brahmacharis. So can you imagine how much flack the family got, particularly the wife and the children? Because the brahmacharis were not really mature enough, right? And Brahmatirtha Prabhu was also trying to live more like in an ashram. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj told him, Brahma, you become like a regular householder and have a decent home. You can't live like this. So then he said he got a house near the temple. And remember, he was still working. So while he was working, during the December marathon, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj wanted to spend the marathon here in Houston. So they had this marathon going, and Brahmatirtha Prabhu and Tamal Krishna Maharaj made Brahmatirtha Prabhu head of the marathon at that time, while he's having a full-time job. So Brahmatirtha Prabhu says for the whole month, he did not go to work. But he had an Indian person covering for him. That Indian person was Mother Kalpataru's husband, Gaurachandra Prabhu. So what he would do is, he would leave his sports jacket in his office, and Gaurachandra Prabhu would put the sports jacket on the back of the chair. So if someone asked for Brahmatirtha Prabhu, where is Bob Cohen? So, he must have just stepped out, his jacket is there, he should be back soon. So this went on for a whole month. At the end of that month, Brahmatirtha Prabhu had a project which was due in 2 or 3 days. So he did the whole project in 2 or 3 days, not having been there for the whole month. And he said when he submitted the project, everyone in his company was like awestruck. Like, this is the best project designs anyone has ever submitted. So by surrendering, Krishna covered for him. And then he had Gaurachandra Prabhu surrendering to him, like covering for him. And yes, he was also employee of the month. And what he used to do, he had a car, right? So he lent his car to the brahmacharis. So he would drive in an old beat-up temple car to a parking lot near his work. Then he would walk the other distance, so people did not know that he had this beat-up car, because he had a good position. So these are the sacrifices they made. And then he was thinking, this is, all these Indians are very educated, they are well off, they should also be they should help us in this mission. So he jokes sometimes that, if people blame that the ISKCON is overrun by Indians, he said he's to be blamed because he started preaching to the Indians first, right? So Gaurachandra was his colleague, and then another person who was his colleague was someone called Deepak Patel. So Deepak Patel was single, and he would come to the temple every week, and then Brahmatirtha Prabhu gave him the job of doing the shopping for the temple, the bhoga shopping. So Deepak was doing this shopping every week, and then because he didn't have a family, he would come and hang out at the temple on the weekends, and he was getting more and more involved. Then he came in touch with His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and by that time he was married, and later on he got initiated, and that's our Dwarkanath Prabhu. For the last 40 plus years, he's been doing the bhoga shopping, and every Sunday he does the evening arti. So these were the first two Indians who joined, because they made a shift now that the local Westerners surrendered their whole lives, right? But now the Indians have responsible jobs and families. They may not be able to surrender their entire lives, but we can engage them in Krishna's service. So this shift, that Grihasthas can be engaged in Krishna's service, so this was a change in the strategy at this point. And then we see that how then slowly, how our movement evolved. So the Rosalie altar in 1977 looked like this. This altar, by the way, is in Kuvera Prabhu's house, the wooden altar. And the deities there are, you can see two sets of Gaur Nitai. The upper one is Nitai Chaitanya Chandra. They were installed around 1977. The GBC during this time was His Holiness Satswarup Maharaj for Texas. And the other smaller set on the bottom is Nitai Gaura Chandra that we have now, the smaller Gaur Nitai deities. This Nitai Gaura Chandra were part of the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party. Each bus had a set of Gaur Nitai. So this Gaura Chandra on our altar, they came from Janardhan Prabhu's bus. And then they came initially to Houston. Then they were establishing a restaurant in Austin, so they moved to Austin. Then there was a farm in Oklahoma, so they moved to Oklahoma. And then when the farm was given up, they moved to Houston, and that is where they are staying now. So this is our Nitai Gaura Chandra. Now, the Rosalie space was downtown, and the devotees describe it as a shoebox. It was very tiny. Not only that, there was a plasma donation center near to it. So the kind of people who hung around were like, drug addicts, people who were out, down and out. And so the neighborhood was not very savory. Besides, there was hardly any room. There was difficulty for parking. So then His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj and the devotees thought we should look for a new location. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj consulted Gunagrahi Maharaj, who was preaching at that time along Westheimer, where that is like the hip district, where all the young people congregate, the nightlife is really good. So Gunagrahi Maharaj suggested we should find a location on Westheimer. Then Kalakanta Prabhu, who was the temple president at that time, as we know, he is very much into college preaching. So he found a location near Rice University, which had a big hall, and there was also a living facility. And then they were thinking, okay, this is a good location, but let us see if there's anything else. Then Kalakanta Prabhu found a third location, which was an old Baptist church. And this Baptist church was, it had a temple, a church building, and then there was an educational building. So Nitai Chaitanya Chandra then made this ride in this van from Rosalie to the new house on 34th Street. So to show you the what it looked like, this is the outside of the temple. If you look from the side of Gauranga Hall, The pathway is the path which is now leading to Gauranga Hall. It was not, so you can see the church building with the steeple. This was our temple first here in this location. And you can see the entrance. This is now our Govinda's restaurant. Okay. A few pictures also from the outside. The top building, the grey brick, the brown brick building, that was the educational building. It had a kitchen and it had some rooms. So that educational building, the kitchen was used for deity cooking. There were several rooms. One was used for the Brahmachari ashram, one was an office, and then which is like where our kitchen is now. And where the Tulsi house is now was the sannyasi quarters. And there was a little garden there. And there was a bigger hall, pretty much where now the TKG memorial room is. That was the dining, that was the prasadam area. So that is, so you can see the outside. And then the bottom picture shows the back of the temple room, the back of this building here, which, the back of this building, sorry, backward. Let me go back. And then there was some lawn outside, okay. So this was a church building. The question was, how do we make it suitable for the Lord, right? Nitai Chaitanya Chandra has moved, Nitai Gaura Chandra has moved, because inside it looked like this. The walls were bare, right? The floor was just tile. It was dark, and this is how it kind of looked like. The bottom picture with Krishna Kripa is the Pujari there. That was more like it. The top picture is a little bit later, when some devotees took initiation. And then, after that, let's see. Then we have to make this temple suitable for their lordships to reside in. And we adopted the principle of by the hand of every devotee. You know, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, when Jagannath Das Babaji verified the site of the Yoga Pit, he wanted to build a temple at the Yoga Pit. And what was his, how did he do it? He begged from every household 1 rupee. So everybody can participate in building a temple of the Lord. So this was the same principle which was adopted here by the hand of every devotee. We see this principle is also adopted by TOVP. Just buy a brick, a brick for the temple. Then you will be personally building a temple for the Lord. And we had a concept at this time of Krishna Bank. Krishna Bank was basically like a clear gallon jug with a picture of the deities. And every person who could was given this Krishna Bank. That whatever Lakshmi you have, every day you just deposit into this bank. And when the bank is full, you bring it to the temple. In this way, you are contributing to building the temple. So everyone in the community becomes engaged. Remember, the strategy now is to engage everyone, not necessarily to in the service of the Lord, because we are seeing that very few people can give their whole lives. So this was so by this process in life membership, the new altar was built for the Lord. This is still. I'll show you the new one here. So we went from the old building, right, to our left, and now you see the altar. We have the altar as we see it in the old temple. This is teak wood, and Nitai Chaitanya Chandra and Nitai Gaura Chandra had 2 separate altars. I have stacked them together because of space, but they had 2 separate altars, and this altar, teak wood altar, was designed, and so now we have an altar for the lordships, right? But the temple room itself doesn't look so good, right? The temple room doesn't look good. So how do we go to the next step? So here are some pictures. We wanted to go from that shabby looking walls. So here's your temple, the altar now. This is the altar, you can see the teak wood altar. The wall of the altar was behind this wall, right? And then if you see the temple room itself, the floor is still, it's not a marble floor, right? The altar is complete, the deities are there. Then what happens is, at this time, of course, the lordships are being worshipped, so there is a Tulsi house. Behind the Tulsi house, you can see the back of the temple. So the Tulsi house was built so we can have Tulsi for the lordships. And then these are the grounds. There was a big, there was a space. So these are the grounds. And can you recognize anyone? Because it's very small, you can see. Krishna Kripa can, because it's his picture. Yeah. So where we are sitting now, that is the space. This was a GBC meeting. The person standing up is His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And the GBC, during the meetings, were served their meals outside in the grounds. So this is where we started off. And then we started, like we said, the renovation of the inside. So here are a few pictures how it looked. Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa-san was opposite the altar, right? And you can see now the floor is marble, there are arches in the temple room, and on the bottom you can see the arches and the Chaitanya Prabhu giving the Bhagavatam class. So now the inside of the temple is also done, it's renovated. Now after this, remember that we are preaching now, the focus is on the Indian community to be supportive for the activities of serving the Lord. And the devotees have been serving Mahaprabhu for a long time. But the Indian community here were mostly like not Bengalis, right? I should say this way. So they were not very familiar with Mahaprabhu. But because of the disciplic succession and under the direction of Srila Prabhupada and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, they were worshipping Panchatattva, they were worshipping Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then, but the Indian community was still hankering for Krishna. So then, because they had successfully worshipped Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, Nila Madhava decides to come. And here's a picture of Nila Madhava while he's being carved. This is in the quarters of the Sthapati, the sculpture. So this is how Nila Madhava looked, right? So then Nila Madhava come, and then when Nila Madhava came, there was an installation jagya, right? So to make, this was done on the grounds, the white building, that's the back of the temple room, the Pujari room is right there. Then there were like 5 jagya kunds in which this jagya was done. The bottom picture is very small, but for the installation we had His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, Gunagrahi Maharaj was there, Abhiram Prabhu, and Guru Prasad Swami. So these were the devotees who were there. So we did the jagya, and then Nila Madhava were installed. So here is Tamal Krishna Maharaj opening the eye of Radharani. And you can see to his left, you can see the form of Nila Madhava. You can barely make out the form, right? And then there was this big Abhishek. The top picture you can see there is some like a plastic something. So the deities were actually given an Abhishek or a bathing, ceremonial bathing, and there was a system of pulleys so that the donors could pull a bucket with liquids, sacred liquids, and it would pour on Nila Madhava. So this is how, and there's the first darshan, this is during the Abhishek, and then how the altar looks on the bottom. At this time, our head pujari was Narothamananda Prabhu, who is now in Dallas. He's still a pujari. And so he served as the head pujari from Janmashtami of 86 to November 86. So Nila Madhava came in 86, But the deities moved to this location, not Nila Madhava, but the Gaur Nitai deities in 1985. So this is the 40th anniversary of our moving to this location. Then I wanted to show you some pictures of Radha Nila Madhava. After Narottamananda Prabhu, our next head pujari was Brahma Samhita Prabhu, who's going to be speaking tonight. He was head pujari from November of 86 to May of 87. And then in May of 87, Krishna Kripa Prabhu became the next head pujari. And he was head pujari for 6 years. During this time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj set the standards for deity worship. So that how deity worship, dressing, so these standards were now established since Nila Madhava has been there. So they were, and you can see how this, just showed you some pictures of Nila Madhava. Then in 1993, there was again another shift in the strategy, right? The temple is here now, the worship of the deity is going on, but mostly there are some local people, but we are not attracting more local people, right? So Tamal Krishna Maharaj wanted to start book distribution in earnest. So then he moved Krishna Kripa Prabhu from being the head pujari to go up and start book distribution, along with Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu in Dallas. So they started that, and at this point, Chaitanya Prabhu became the head pujari. Right? So that's the history. Now, let me go back so we can see that. While Chaitanya Prabhu was head pujari, his parents were here, and they were both initiated. And Guru Priya was recalling how they would take care of all the services, the worship and the food offerings throughout the day. They were a couple. And Chaitanya Prabhu's family owns mango farms, right, in India. So during the summer season, Chaitanya Prabhu's mother, Mandakini Mataji, she would make mango pulp. You know, amras. Every morning she would make amras during breakfast. She would put it in the fridge. And then at lunch, they would offer this cold mango pulp to the deity. For every day, all summer, for years. That was their that's how they took their service, you know, because they knew mangoes. And they know how to serve them. So this was very special time for Radha Nila Madhava. That, you know, now we don't do that. We're lucky if the deities get mangoes every day in the summer, right? Yeah. So just an interesting piece of information. Now, after this, the deities came, then there was like a mood that we should invite Giriraj, right? So a Giriraj Shila had to come here. But the Giriraj Shila has to be given by a Vrajavasi, right? So here's a picture of Giriraj, our Giriraj on the altar. You can see at the base, you can see him at the base. It's a black and white picture, so you have to see better. And it's a frame. So the person there is Bibi Govinda Maharaj. At that time, he was Ayodhyapati Prabhu. So he was the cook serving in Vrindavan. And then you, of course, see Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So they found this big deity of, this big Shila of Giriraj that they would bring. Actually, Govinda Maharaj carried Giriraj just Ayodhyapati, right? Lord Ram. Just like the servant of Lord Ram, he carried Giriraj on his shoulder onto the plain and then into to Houston. And during this time, he had his own deity he was worshipping, so he had to check in his deity, and the bag got lost. So then that bag came a day later. So this is how Govinda Maharaj brought Giriraj here. Then Giriraj was installed, and so now you see the altar. It's because it's like a whole altar. Giriraj now is on the top altar, and now Nitai Gaura Chandra and Nitai Chaitanya Chandra are on the same altar. They don't have separate altars anymore like it was in the old temple. At this point, Radha Giridhari is not there, right? And then later on, Giridhari came in terms of the deity services. Now we have this temple, and then now we run into another problem. right? That we have so many people coming here. We have this little educational building with a small prasadam hall, like 1/4 the size of this building, of this temple room. And when guests come for Sunday feast, there's not enough space. Besides, the temple room for big festivals is too small. During Janmashtami, people climb through the windows to be able to take darshan at midnight. And when it is raining, prasadam, people, if they're eating outside, they have to rush inside. There are families with children, and we start Sunday school, but there is no good space for Sunday school classrooms. So then, and then next to our property was another property where an old lady lived. Her name was Mrs. Grimes. So when she passed away, the temple was able to purchase that property. And then for Prabhupada's centennial, the goal became to build a community hall. So then here's the groundbreaking ceremony for the community hall. We see you see Janak Maharaj on the left side. He just left his body. Kuvera Prabhu. And then you see also Rasamrita Prabhu is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He was in this community, he also left his body. So this is laying the foundation stone in 1993. Guru Dhyana sent this picture for us. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai, Nitai Chaitanya Chandra, Nitai Gaura Chandra ki jai, Radha Giridhari ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai. And then the process started of building Gauranga Hall. There's some more pictures of the groundbreaking ceremony. We see Janak Maharaj blowing the conch, Krishna Kripa doing the puja, and then another one with an aesthetic dance, and then one more here of the groundbreaking ceremony of Gauranga Hall. Some pictures about the construction. Here's the entrance, and then here's the metalwork. And this was our offering to Srila Prabhupada for his centennial in 1996. So usually when we speak about the new temple, what preceded the new temple, who were the pioneers, who laid the groundwork, this history is usually not told. From Gauranga Hall onwards, like building this temple, most people know because it's been very publicized, but this past history of the people who actually laid the groundwork, and made this possible, the giants on whose shoulders we stand, or in his footsteps we follow, we have to remember them because that is our tradition. We are grateful for the predecessor acharyas, our mentors, who has given us what we have, and from there we build on. And Srila Prabhupada had one request. When he got towards his last days, when there was a letter, I don't remember, that someone was building a new temple. Srila Prabhupada had one request. He said, don't make me like Alexander the Great. You know the story of Alexander the Great, right? So Alexander the Great, he was conquering, right? Conquering a new place very frequently. But by the time he conquered the new place, the place he had conquered formerly had fallen apart. So Prabhupada's request was, you can expand, but don't make me like Alexander the Great. Make sure you maintain what we have already established, and don't let that fall apart in terms of like building something new. So it's something that we should keep in mind, that whatever offerings and artis we are doing, whatever we are, the standard for the altar, that we maintain those standards, because that will please Srila Prabhupada. We don't want him to go down in history as another Alexander the Great, right? So I'll stop here in the interest of time. And yes, Prabhu.
To the photograph that showed everybody sitting behind the temple on the tables.
Okay, I'll pull that picture.
Is that possible?
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
There's just a little interesting thing there that I think the devotees will appreciate.
I can get there here, this one. There, here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, you see on the left where the devotee's kind of standing up there? Okay, and there's a tree behind them. That was basically our property line. In that particular tree, which is probably about 150 years old, was very patiently and quietly sitting Daru Brahma, Sri Jagannath Dev. That's the tree that the deities here were carved from. And and that's where the front of this temple ended up, right by that tree. To just the perspective of what changed in all that time. But yeah, that's it. That's Daru Brahma. He was waiting there patiently for the devotees to take possession of the property so he could manifest himself.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Sorry.
Yeah. It's also interesting, right? Nila Madhava and Jagannath were never in the same temple room. Nila Madhava disappeared, and then Jagannath came in the form of Daru Brahman. He was carved and installed in the Puri temple. Yeah. Nila Madhava still lives in the hill. You can go and see him still till today on top of the hill. But here, like, we get Jagannath and Nila Madhava are on the same.
We got lucky. Nila Madhava stayed this time.
Same place, yeah. Nila Madhava didn't move. But he's in Jagannath. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.